Okay, so if we're going to assemble this selfie stick, the first thing we got to understand is something has to be grounded. Because right now, if I grab this, there's already a joint right here established between these two, but it doesn't go anywhere because there's nothing grounded. So what we want to do is find this piece right here, which is the phone holder bottom. We want to right click on it, maybe. There we go, right click on that and ground it to the parent. Okay, and just say, okay, ground to parent. It'll move it, and that's fine. We can move these other parts of the stick out of the way just to make some room. And now if I grab this, look, it goes up and down. So this one, we don't want it to go out, and we don't want it to do this because that defies the laws of physics. So we're trying to not defy any laws of physics. So we come and we can find that joint that's right in there, or we can go over here and into our relationship panel on the left and go to our joints, and there should only be one, this slider right here, and we're going to edit the motion limits. So we can have a minimum, a maximum, and a rest. Right now that is 0. And we can set the minimum as 0, the maximum, let's see if what 1.5 looks like. That's too far. 1 works. And we can say, okay. Now, it will only allow me to pull that up so far. When I let it go, it snaps back, just like a real selfie stick would. Now we need to start putting this thing together like the instructions showed. First thing goes on is this part right here, the shoe top. So, this one's already grounded, it's not moving anywhere. The shoe top is what we're going for. We can either go up here to assemble and click on joint, or we can just hit the J key on the keyboard. I'm going to click that, and I know that the bottom of this thing needs to line up, that hole needs to line up with that hole there. So I'm going to come over here and select the first thing. I'm going to get to the center of that hole, click, and come over to the center of this hole on the bottom, because we want it to go on the bottom, and we're going to click right there. It's lined up just fine, and we're going to have that as a rigid. We don't want it moving anywhere, so we can say okay. Now that's jointed, you can't move it no matter what you do. Okay, let's back out, go back to our home view. The next part we want to put in is this screw. The screw goes into the bottom through that shoe top into the bottom base plate here. So we're going to take, and I'm just going to type J, come down here, and I'm going to go to the center of the base here and click in the center of that base. Well, I'm not sure why. Oh, I'd already clicked on the base, that's why it went there. Nevertheless, I'm going to type J again and go get the center of that, and then come over here and get the center of this. Now, see how it's in there upside down? There's a thing down here that says flip. Flip it. Easy peasy. Now, we're going to have to do a different motion here. We want this one to be able to go in and out, but we also want it to be able to turn because it is a screw. So that is going to be your cylindrical. Shows your nice little motion there. So then we need to create some motion limits, and for the rotation we don't care, but the slide we do. The slide, we want the minimum to be there, then we're going to choose a maximum, and we can come out here and drag this thing down to see where we might want the maximum to be. Let's go with, let's just make that a 0.05, and I'll show you why in just a second. And I'm going to create the rest at 0. And sometimes these numbers will change. You click that preview limit, and it lets you see, okay, it goes in, it goes out, it doesn't go too far. Okay. Now, after we've made that, we can only pull it out that far, and as soon as we let it go, it goes right back. All right, now we need to get this part, the shoe bottom. I'm going to create another joint. And this one's a little awkward because it's got this gap in the center of it. And we know we're attaching it on the bottom here. Let me rotate this around. We're attaching it on the bottom here to one of these edges. So I've got to pick a point that I know I can make it match. And it's going to be right here on this edge, or on this edge. But I've got to pick the side that's going to match up with. Let me go back to my home, and I'm going to come down here, tap the J key. Now, you notice if I go out here, it ends up turning that the axes on that little guide that it gives you. That's the one you want, where the blue is coming out towards you, just like it is here in the center. So if you want to make sure that gets locked in, if you grab one of those in the center and just hover over it and hold the control button, when you go out to the edge, it will stay on that same plane. I'm going to click that edge. I'm going to back this sucker up, and I'm going to rotate this around. My pivot point has gotten put in a strange place. That edge is going to match up with this edge right there. So I'm going to come out here and make sure, grab that, control, click the center. And look, it remembers the last thing we did, which was a cylindrical. So we've got to come back over here to motion and change our cylindrical to a rigid. We don't want that going anywhere. Okay. Get back to our home view. We need to put the stick adapter on here. So let's go ahead and hit the J for joint. And I'm going to take and grab just inside this edge right here, inside that cylinder. And I'm going to rotate this thing around, because it's going to line right up with this right here. And I'm going to smack it right there. And the motion here, we want that to be able to pivot. So that's going to be a revolute. Okay, but it can't spin through there. So we've got to have some minimum, maximums, and rests. Okay, so my minimum, let's say what it looks like at 90, okay. Maximum 180, nope, 270. That looks right. Rest at 0. Yeah, we can rest it at 90, or we could rest it at 270. This thing, they can get quite obnoxious. So preview our limits. Oh no, it's going the wrong way. So let's change that. Preview it. Nope, can't go that. So what we might end up having to do is do negative 270 and 90 and positive 90. Positive 90. See what the limits look like there. It's going the wrong way still. Okay, so I figured that one out. Its minimum should be negative 90, maximum 90, and rest is at 90. Sometimes you've got to tinker around with these things to make them work. I don't know all the rules, but there it is. And I've got the rest at 90 to keep that stick pointing back there. So I say, okay, move around. Look, it didn't go there. So as soon as I grab a hold of it and try to move it, and I let go, it should rest back here. But it's not going to, because it's being problematic again. So what I did is I clipped away there for a second. Anytime you have a problem with these things, you go to your joints and you edit your motion limits and change that to negative 90. Now it should lock into place there. Okay. All right. Now let's put this stick, attach it into that adapter. So I'm going to click J again, come down here. I'm going to get the inside of that center ring because I want it to sit flush back here. And while that is a screw, we know it goes in and out like that. We're just going to create that as a rigid joint, because once it's screwed in there, it shouldn't move anywhere. Say okay. Zoom that sucker back out. And now we need to put the outside stick here, the stick bottom onto the stick top. So I'm going to rotate this back around this way, hit J, and I'm going to get the center of that one. And if you notice, if you try to go on the outside here, it's just going to get the face. So what you got to do is rotate it around and get there. Now, This one is going to have a slider motion. So we go from position over here to motion. We change that to slider. If we preview it, we notice it goes in and out like it's supposed to, but we don't want it to go that far. So once again, we need to have some motion limits. Okay, so there is our limit going that direction. And you know, if we take it up, say -12, and results may vary, depends on how you've set yours up, whether it's a negative or a positive. And we want our rest at -12. And we say preview. Okay. So when I grab it and drag a little bit, it pops back into its place. So now I have a fully assembled, but I am missing one part, and that is the screw that goes in here. Okay, and that is found in the McMaster car catalog. So in order to do that, you need to go up here to Insert, down to the Insert McMaster car component, and then we search for the part number. Part number is 91185A911, and it's that thumb screw comes up. Click on that, takes us down to this 1-inch fully threaded part, and under the product detail it has the CAD files. Where it says 3D SolidWorks, click there, and then click 3D Step and say Download. And it brings a part in there. You can go ahead and orient it similar to the way you're going to insert it. And then we'll say OK. And then I'm going to create another joint. Type in J on the keyboard. Rotate this around. And let's go back and select this at the very base, because we also want this one to be flush with where it's going into right here. Select the center of that hole. Okay, this one's going to be a cylindrical because it can rotate in and out, but we don't want it to violate the laws of physics once again. So on the motion limits, we're going to go here to the slide. We're going to have a minimum at 0. Our maximum, we know, well, it's going to go in the negative direction, so we're going to set a minimum of like -2, maximum of 0, and a rest at 0. Preview our limits. Screw comes in, screw goes out, does what it's supposed to do. Okay. Now it is fully assembled. Now that I have it fully assembled, I need to disassemble it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to save this. Probably should have saved a few times along the way, but I didn't. So once that's saved, I want to go up here to Design, go down to Animation, and now you have your selfie stick animation starting out. The first thing you do in here, it's going to show in your timeline down here at the bottom. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to zoom out a little bit. You notice down here it shows up that there was a camera motion that took place. And we can move this around a little bit. Now, I want to just take this thing apart exactly how it would come apart in real life. So, I'm going to take my transform button up here, and I'm going to click my first transform. I'm going to click this bottom of the selfie stick, and that thing is, you're going to take it and move it along the line that it would naturally come apart. So we're going to take that down and take it a good piece away so you've got room to move. You don't necessarily have to go too far, because I can take it down and then I can drop it down here. Over here on my transform components, I'm going to split my transforms, and I'm going to turn on trail line visibility. That gives you that line that shows, okay, this thing goes up and back on there, and I say okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the next stick off here, and it's just going to move straight back over top of this. Split transforms, trail line visibility, and say OK. Now, down here in our timeline, you'll notice the stick top starts before the stick bottom ends. And for the purposes of what we've got going on, I don't want that to do that. I want this to move out here. So I grab it and just pull it out at the end, and there it goes. So now the next one I start should start right where I ended this one. So the next thing I want to do is I've got to take this screw out before I can take the shoe bottom or the stick adapter off. So I'm going to click the transform, click that screw, and I'm just going to pull it out to the side, maybe pull it back. Trail line there. Make sure that the transforms are split, and it didn't move it in my timeline where I wanted it, so I got to take it and move it in the timeline myself. Come on. Move that one, and then I move that one. Sorry about that. Mrs. Ashcraft walked in while I was fixing this. All right, so now we can see what we've got going on so far. If I click the play button, there that goes, there goes my screw out and down, and I'm ready to continue on transforming this thing. Now that the screw is out, I can take that stick adapter off. Come down here, might have to zoom in a little bit, which will add another view change here, and that's fine. I click that one, and I'm going to take it straight back. Trail line visibility, split my transforms, say OK. Move that to the end of the line. Okay, now I can take that part off here. I'm going to take it down. I'm going to zoom back out. Move this over here. Trail line visibility on, split transforms there. OK. I've got to move these out here to the end of my timeline, and I'm going to move that zoom out here to be in line with where I did that work as well. Okay, move this on out here. So now I've got this screw on the bottom here that I need to take out. Transform it, take it down, zoom back out. Take that down, trail line, split transforms, OK. Move that out to the end here again in our timeline, so we've got a nice cascading timeline. Okay, and I've got one more part on the bottom there that I need to take off. That part right there. So I'm going to transform it. I'm going to bring it straight down, and maybe if I go back to my home view, I'm going to push it out to that side. Trail lines on, split transforms on. Okay, got one more piece. That part right there at the top, we're going to take and we're just going to move it straight up. Turn trail lines and split transforms on. Forgot to move things down here in my timeline. And now everything should be blown apart right where we need it. So, if we go down here and click play, it'll take us back to the beginning. Now I didn't like all that zooming in and out, so I'm going to take and delete those zooms. Hit play again. And that's where we end. Now, save that thing again. Make sure it's always saved. Now, all the pieces are nice and separate. You can see the lines where they go back together. In animation, I'm going to click up here on the top left and come down to drawing, and instead of drawing from design like we've done in the past, we're going to do drawing from animation. ASME, units are inches, sheet size B, we're all good there. We say OK. Okay, now it's going to bring this in, and I notice that scale is way too small. So the first thing I'm going to do is come over here and maybe change that 1 to 3, because I think 1 to 2 is probably too large. Yeah, that's another reason you don't want to get them all split out like I've got them here. But let's just do, for the sake of you all being able to see, I'm going to do 1 to 2 and say OK. Oh, looks great, except for I need to change my view to just be visible edges only, proper drawing style. And now I need to put a parts list. Since all of these parts are in here, you can just go up here under tables and create a parts list. I'm going to come in here and drag it in, and have to move out so I can drag it and pin it to that top. Now we've got all these fun little lines here that I don't like where they are. So I'm going to click on them one at a time and move them around. And it really doesn't matter, as long as they're on the page and they point to the part. You don't want your lines to come crossed across each other, just like you do with your drawings, your dimensioning you do normally. You want the point to come to an outside edge. I don't know why that Fusion can't just get it together and do what we want it to do initially without having to go through all of this extra, but it is what it is. And now we have all of our parts. They're not over top each other. They're not outside the boundaries. We've got a parts list with our item quantity, part number, and material. We should be good to go to save it. And once we've saved it, then we can export it as a PDF and attach that as part of your assignment. The one thing I didn't really cover is exporting this. If you want to publish this, because you need to upload a video as part of the assignment, you publish the video. All storyboards, because you've only got one storyboard, and you say OK. Pick AVI is good, and you save that, and it'll save it to wherever you directed. Mine saves to my downloads. So when I pull up my downloads, I have to drag that over here. There is the Fusion video. Suitable for YouTube or whatever else you want to share it with. All right, there you go.